A lot of people usually ask me, do you really think XRP is about to blow off? And my answer is, yes, I do. That's why XRP is one of the biggest assets I hold. But what you have to understand is, I'm not looking at the 1,000, 10,000, 50,000 kind of crazy things. I'm looking at history. I'm trying to learn from the patterns and history, the wave structure. And yes, it does point me towards $20. It does look like we can actually go much higher than that in the wave 3. But you're going to see major corrections in between for sure. But let me make myself clear here. Before we jump into anything else, this is happening in the market right now. And I believe you guys should pay close attention to this. Now, again, I'm not a doomsday guy, right? This is happening, right? While the BNB is dropping, we all have to pay close attention to that. That's a major part of Binance. The reserves which that company holds, a lot of it is in Binance coin. That does ring alarm. And while I said this, I never thought like, okay, this is going to be something coming from the SEC. And I highlighted this to you guys like, okay, we are breaking to the downside, guys. The RSI is breaking to the downside. Now, what are we really looking at? Yes, on a 3-day chart, it does look like this. And this is not like, I'm trying to exaggerate. This is a daily chart, not an hourly chart. We're already down 15%. And now, if you go look at that on the 3-day chart, it shows you somewhere around $200, you have some level of support. Great. Then you zoom out. And you look at that like, okay, that's close to like 70% drop by the time we reach $200. And we have actually done that before. So it's not a big thing. If we break that level, we are now looking for like $40. That, in my opinion, is going to be crazy in the crypto market arena. It is going to shake the entire market. But things are changing. Even the maxis are right now starting to think like, why is it like XRP is not being mentioned by the SEC in Coinbase suit or against Binance? They are confused. But while we understand the fact that, okay, things are happening, evolving in the market, and we understand the fact that now things are personal, it does feel like things are really personal. If Binance rejected this guy, now he's taking things on a different level. It's personal, and that's why I strongly believe this has a huge possibility. SEC need money to fight this war against Binance, against Coinbase, and against all those companies which they are going in. Not a lot of other companies can actually offer them that amount of money to get settled. That's where XRP and Ripple, the company, is going to play a huge role. And if you're a XRP holder, watch this. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys get to learn how to become the next top 10% of this world. I would say avoiding things like this will 100% enable you to be alive in the market and to take on the bull markets to reach that level which you want to be. Whether it's a millionaire level, whether it's a billionaire level, it just takes time. But if you are trapped in issues like this, now 99.9% of your assets are gone, or you don't even have those assets, you are done from the market, right? There's the FTT, there's the FTX or Luna, the Celsius, all of those. But while you are still alive in the market, make sure you understand how things are rolling out. Make sure you understand how the fundamentals are moving. Once this comes out, and most likely it's just in a week, we're going to see that. And that is going to hit the ground at a time when all of this drama is happening with SEC and all other crypto companies. And that does make sense while you look at the market. Month on month, these guys are actually leading with XRP on charge. While you see all the other assets are down, even including Bitcoin is down. And if you actually look at the meme coins, they are down big compared to the others on that average range. Now, whether we agree with this or not, there are positive things too happening. Maybe we are going to see something soon. In 7 days from now, that means by the time the Hinman emails are about to hit the ground, you're also going to get something positive from this side too. Now, something which I would like to highlight to you guys is like, you have to understand different people will have different opinion, and they are all free to highlight the fact that they say this is going to happen. But do you really think hype and facts are different? If so, you need to actually understand, looking for a value like this is too much. Whether you say it's like $5, whether you say it's $500,000, you need to scratch your head and ask like, where the hell does this all come in? Where the hell does this all fit in, right? You need to actually go through what they are highlighting and check for whether that's true or not. If you actually go through the discounted cash flow method, assuming the interest rates, first of all, you don't know what the interest rates are going to be for a long period of time. Second, you really have to know what the current cash flow is and what the expected cash flow for the future is. There's a lot of different things coming inside that arena. But anyway, that's what people are highlighting. And I'm surprised to see, like, people are really loving this kind of valuation models of tens of thousands of dollars per XRP. But let's stay true to ourselves and let's actually be realistic, understanding this is going to happen. While we discuss about this market, we now understand the fact that yes, this price action is becoming scary. Yes, you're watching some things evolving. But what we really would like to see is the price going back up about 275. That shows there are some hope. We do have some hope. Otherwise, we are looking for further downside in Binance coin. Now, to make this all in one picture, while you look at XRP, yes, it does seem like, there's a lot in common. We do get something, and we are still slow to start this run to the upside. We all agree on that fact, right? But what we want to see is how this week ends, because if this week can actually close this candle bullish, we are going to continue higher. If this monthly candle, which now has a long way to go, but shows you a bullish thing, now yet again, you're going to see the market play out big things. Now, what matters for most of us is the short-term fluctuation, because that kind of gets inside your head playing all this drama, right? And I would actually put this perspective saying, okay guys, let's actually be realistic. Let's watch how things are evolving. This is what the price is doing right now. And if the price does not actually go above this particular trend line, I think we may actually drop further. We may actually come back down again to 0.47 to 0.48, whatever that range is, right? But how can this change? If you actually put in an ABC pattern by coming towards 0.49 and then bounce off, that is strictly going to be bullish in my opinion. Because on the price action side of things, if I'm not looking at the pattern, I'm looking at the price action, I would actually argue that what we are observing here is kind of a reversal pattern, one. And two, after that, you slow down here, you're slowly coming down here. Just one candle worth of bullish movements are now taking more than 3 candles of bearish movement to come back down. So that, for me, means, okay, bulls are actually strong. But we also have to understand the fact that, okay, this particular candle which came down took like another candle which was not able to erase that level. So it's still in that downside momentum. So if you are considering the price action, this is the range we are talking about. 0.5 is going to be the first level of support for XRP, which we'll have to keep our eyes focused on. After which comes 0.47. Now, keep that in your mind, and then you go on to the Bitcoin side of things. You want to see how Bitcoin is moving, because if Bitcoin is about to continue further to the downside, that can actually create some more level of panic in the market. But the good news here is that at least as of now, the price of Bitcoin is holding on to this particular pattern, which is positive. One of the reasons for that is we are hitting this level of support and we're trying to hold on to that particular level. Yes, we will actually see some volatility. We have actually observed the fact that we dropped to the downside and we bounced to the upside. So on the short-term charts, for that matter, if you are looking at Bitcoin on the short-term horizon, Now, this is something you're watching it, right? You're literally watching like, okay, this was the level of support. We barely dropped below that level and bulls immediately push that price to the upside. Now, what does that actually mean? It shows you that the price action was going down all this way, fluctuating to the downside. And at this point, something changed. You're not making quite higher highs, but you consolidated at that level and hit the same level and bounced off to make a local higher high. So that shows you, okay, there is some level of buying power coming in here close to this range for Bitcoin, which is actually attractive. After which you create this spring event, which for me is like, okay, there is something evolving in terms of the Wyckoff accumulation here. And if you actually see a bounce in Bitcoin from this particular level all the way up towards 28,000, now don't doubt it. Most likely in that case, we are not going lower. We are headed way, way higher because there's going to be that pattern. Why? We are going to breach that pattern to the upside with that leg up towards 28,000. Before, when we went to 28,000, that was still inside the range and by the resistance. Whereas right now, if you do that, that means you're breaking that level of resistance and you're going for the Wyckoff accumulation pattern, and we should actually call that a reaccumulation pattern, at least the way the market is showing us. So if you are looking at this and saying like, okay, if that's the short-term scenario, what should I look on the macro? I would be like, okay, on the macro, guys, there is nothing wrong to look at this asset class right now and say that it is making a rounded bottom where it is preparing to launch like a skyrocket. But yes, this is the only concern which I'm watching here because Binance coin is not a small asset. It actually is listed here just below Ether. Neglect the stable coin. And you're watching that right now, it has less than $1 billion in volume. So the volume is dropping as the price is dropping. You're watching how the markets are evolving. And with that said, you need to keep your eyes open while you understand the fact that, okay, XRP has its own DEX, the decentralized exchange. And XRP is about to get things changed in an event of a green light coming from the court. Yes, SEC is running behind these other crypto projects, which doesn't actually look good. But by the time you are getting hands-on Hinman emails, that means right now you can actually understand what was that process through which that particular guy went on saying Ether is not a security. Now, it was at the beginning, but right now it's not. So that's going to impact a lot of different crypto as well. Because if your asset fits into that narrative, boom, that's not a security. You can't fight in the court because that will prove like if that's so, this is to happen. That's one of the only reason why I think SEC is not mentioning XRP and Ether, because if they both get the green light and these guys lose money paying in the court, that means they want to actually take this money back and then go boom boom against other companies. So they're going to actually get this money, most likely settle the case, and then go further to kick all these other companies. And that's going to be some crazy events as well, because that means now you have trouble with centralized exchanges in these states. People will have to move on to offshore-based exchanges, and that would be something like FTX. I'm not saying every exchange which are outside the US is like that, but what I'm saying is a concern for those who are from the United States. Now, while we look at the macro things and while we understand the fact that yes, we are headed to the upside, we also have to understand, okay, in that particular context, when you take in XRP to Bitcoin, this is what you're watching it, right? You're still at the bottom. So if you look at the buy low, sell high event, yes, we have been staying at the bottom for a long period of time. And based on history, we know that the more you stay and consolidate at the bottom, the higher the upside is. The violent will be the momentum to the upside. While we start this run to the upside, you're going to see magical moves. Now, one of the reasons why I think so is that look at this volume here. The amount of sellers which came in on this particular 3-day candle is way more than all these previous 3-day candles, great. But sellers were not able to push this candle below the last bullish candle where the volume was lower than that. So for me, it makes sense to say, okay, sellers are coming in hard, but the buyers are doubling down. They're saying, I don't care. That's the attitude of the buyers in XRP right now. While you compare it with Bitcoin side of things, and that's where the market, the events, the narratives play out. Because if you really believe that the markets and the events doesn't matter, now it's confusing. You're looking at this and asking like, why did the price drop 15% in BNB while Bitcoin is staying alive, while a lot of other coins are, even meme coins are staying better than this? Now that's the news and narrative. And if you don't believe in trend lines, you're not watching the breakout to the downside. You probably missed what happened here. So while we stay true to ourselves and analyze the market and post all of this in the group, if you are interested in things like that while watching the entire market, you can look at the Patreon. The link is given in the description below. Now, what does it look like, right? Right now, we are actually going through a Ask for TA session where I go through all your requests and post my thought process on all of those assets. Not all of them looks positive. Some of them are looking extremely violent, meaning they have further downside, but some of them does look attractive. So if you're actually rebalancing your portfolio, I think this is going to help you in a way. Imagine this. If you weigh to see that the price of this asset is about to drop and there is some concerns forming here when the price was 306, or at least when it was breaking that 300 mark, now you didn't have to go through this stuff, right? And that's what actually happens when you try to anticipate things. Now, sometimes I completely agree, I'm too early. Now it's getting better, I have to say that. Say, while I called out on Luna, it was too early for that thing. It actually dropped way after that, right? It actually took some months before it actually dropped. Then you look at the Celsius. It took a long time before that thing actually came into picture, but it never went up making another high. It actually dropped further from there after consolidating, right? So you actually get the point. Now I'm getting better. Instead of the 7-8 month, by the time we saw the FTX collapse here in the FTT, it was like 2 months before the actual collapse. I call this out. Now it's like a week. So I'm like, okay, I'm improving. I'm working myself as much as possible to improve that side of the events. But that's to say, if you are here, you're actually getting hands on those information at the right time for almost all these assets inside this. If you received value for your time, please do hit that like and subscribe button. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.